Hey guys, I don't think that Republicans in Congress necessarily like Trump that much. I think this is really interesting. We talked a little bit about how 170 House Republicans voted against the wishes of Donald Trump and Elon Musk on the debt ceiling. And this was after, just 2 days after Musk and Trump were out there threatening Republicans, fellow Republicans, saying, we're going to spend all this money and primary you for your reelection if you don't obey us. And they disobeyed him. My goodness. They were like, yeah, well, there's safety in numbers. And there were I saw some Republican member of Congress even said that. What's he going to do? Primary 170 of us? They stood up to him. They seem to have stood up to him on the Matt Gaetz thing. And now the ethics report came out. Well, what's interesting is that the ethics report being released was voted on by the ethics committee on a bipartisan basis. And it was a secret vote, which meant Republicans were voting to release the report on the guy who had been Trump's first choice for attorney general to run the Department of Justice. So this is the second thing that they've done to kind of, flip the bird at Trump. I think they don't like being threatened by Trump. I think that, look, they're sick of this. They're sick of the whole Pete Hegseth thing that, he's going to be running DOD. I think they're tired of Trump. The whole RFK Jr. thing, the whole fiasco. They know that Trump is almost purposely trying to push the envelope, which makes them think, well, who's behind this? Is it Vladimir Putin? Because this is really destructive stuff. In the past, I think they were secretly hoping that it would be Democrats and AG Merrick Garland, or the media or somebody who would take Trump out. Voters. But look what happened. So now they know that they are the last stop, if you will, before Armageddon for this country. And it might be too late. But I just see these signs of Republicans standing up to Trump. The other one, as we've talked about before, is Ron DeSantis, basically saying no to Trump on appointing Laura Trump, his daughter-in-law, to the Senate seat being vacated by Marco Rubio because Trump is making him his Secretary of State. And I think we all understand, and I've said this several times, in fact, I said this right from the beginning, the only reason he chose Marco Rubio for that position of Secretary of State is to free up that seat for his daughter-in-law. He doesn't like Marco Rubio. He doesn't like him. And we also know, and while Marco Rubio is probably the only truly acceptable person on the cabinet that Trump has nominated so far, Trump isn't necessarily out there nominating the best people because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about America. He doesn't care about the people who voted him. He doesn't care about anybody but himself and feathering his own nest. So Ron DeSantis, I think, was emboldened by seeing 170 House Republicans flip off Trump and Musk. And I think he made it clear that he wasn't going to make Laura Trump senator. So she quickly pulls her name out. And Trump's down there in Mar-a-Lago trashing Ron DeSantis, acting like a spoiled brat who didn't get his way. But this is all very, very positive because we are seeing, even before Trump is sworn in, they're sending him a message. I think they probably want to support him. They don't want the chaos. They don't want the chaos. They don't want the scandal. Okay? They don't want this Matt Gaetz stuff. They don't want the drugs and sex with the teenagers and all of that and have that be stuff that they have to defend if they vote for his nominees. They're sick of it. And I think this is Republicans kind of sticking together saying no to Donald Trump, and nobody says no to Donald Trump. No one has said no to Donald Trump his entire life. And if they do, he takes what he wants anyway. But I find this really fascinating that Republicans are basically kind of standing up to him in small ways, voting secretly to release the Matt Gaetz ethics report to make it public. Again, Ron DeSantis saying, no, I'm not going to appoint Laura Trump, your daughter-in-law, to fill the Senate seat. Republicans saying no behind the scenes, almost no, or go back to the drawing board on some of these seriously messed up, just almost psychotic picks that Trump is putting on his cabinet, almost like he's testing them. And if this is a test, he wants to see how far he can push the envelope. He and Musk threatening them. I love it. And they're standing up to him. I'm not ready to pat Republicans on the back because they could have stopped all this long ago. You know, we're what, 9 years now in almost to this era of Trump, and they let this happen, as did a lot of Democrats and certainly Merrick Garland and the media. But this is good. It's good, positive news. It shows that our voices matter. So, yeah, I think a few weeks ago, I was urging everybody to do the thing that you hate to do, kind of hold your nose and be in contact with your Republican elected officials a lot. Let them know your thoughts on this because, reminder, the Republican majority in the House is so tiny. It is so slim that they can't afford to play these games. They have to listen to the voters and to their constituents. They have to, or they will lose their majority. And they know that Trump doesn't care about them. The fact that Trump is out there threatening to primary Republican members of Congress when their majority is so slim, they can barely get anything done. You know, they're getting the message that he's not going to do anything to help them. So I'm smiling, I'm laughing. I think it's hilarious, but I'm mostly relieved for our country because it gives me just some small sliver of hope. You know, that little pinprick of light that shows that, you know, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. And I admit I didn't expect this to come from Republicans. And I don't want to put too much weight on it, but it is something to watch and monitor. So let's start keeping track of these little signs that it's Republicans that realize no one's going to save them. Like I said, I think they were hoping that Democrats would save them and that voters would save them and that Merrick Garland would save them, or maybe the media would step in, and no one did. So I'm hoping it's them, at least a little bit. If nothing else, maybe, perhaps, they will be able to keep Trump in line on some of the more egregious items on his agenda. And that would be a good thing. That would be a good thing. That he may have the House and the Senate. His party has the House and the Senate and the White House. But they are separate branches of the government. And it seems that Republicans in those separate branches of government are reminding him of that. So I'm watching and paying attention.